Hello, I'm Karen Jefford, and this is the 7+1 series. In fact, this is the bonus one because it is the +1. This is the final step where everything comes together, because you can do all of the work behind the scenes, but at some point you need to step forward and be seen. After all the work through all of the steps, there's a really important question. If the right corporate partner was in the room today, would you feel ready? And this is where many charities start to pause, and I've seen it when they go networking. They arrive in the room, but there's no plan. They scattergun. There's real intent to networking and to reach in with a corporate partner. There's a lot of homework that needs to be done, and we talk about that throughout the steps. But the impact is there. The work is real. This step is about bringing it all together clearly and confidently in a moment that you don't feel the stretch because you're confident to deliver that question. So I guess the question for this particular step is, do you feel confident telling your story in a way that a corporate organization understands who you are, they understand what you do, and they want to hear more? Alessandro, throughout all of our steps and our work together, we consistently talk about clarity. In that moment, that on-the-spot moment, why is that so important?
As we said in one of the videos, so meta marketing is one of my 2 areas of expertise. And meta marketing is not meta from Facebook, it's from metacognition, thinking about thinking. So your inner voice, self-talk, inner marketing, and many times the imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough, is going to influence the quality of your decisions and eventually the actions. So the T stands for truth. And truth is like your inner voice and your outer expression needs to be aligned in order to make the other person feel your presence, your vitality. So clarity is really, really important because, as I share, like in the truth or in the meta marketing framework, clarity in your mind, you as the sender of the message, becomes clarity in the mind of the other person, the recipient. Clarity is not something that you can declare. You can feel something, but if you declare something else, the other person feels there is something off. Maybe they can't label the reason, but they feel there is something off. And they might give resources to another charity rather than to your charity. So it's very, very important to understand that clarity is not declared, it's radiated. You cannot fake it. So your level of clarity determines whether you attract or repel the other person. A very key point is that under pressure, and by the way, everyone is under pressure at different degrees, but everyone in certain tough situations, so we are under pressure. Emotional control is very, very difficult. It's very difficult to control your emotions. So preparing in advance during like the 7 steps, it's like training your body, not just your mind, because there is a psychological but also a physiological aspect that we need to think about, we need to train. That is the way to manage emotion and create the right impression. So just to give you a practical example, the more I go to the gym, if I want to get fit for the summer, I can't do maybe like a training for a month and then forget about that. You need to constantly train the psychological side and the physiological, how you feel, in order to be ready under pressure to control your emotions. Emotion is something so beautiful, is a data that we need to be able to read the emotion and leverage the emotion. But the only way of doing so is to go through the training. In this case, like the 7+1. The more you train from a clarity, from a storytelling, from how can I use my internal resources, the more you are ready to manage your emotions when you are in front of another person that you are asking a resource from them. So this is my interpretation of the clarity. Just to recap, clarity in your mind as the sender is the clarity in the mind of the other person. And you can't fake the clarity. If you are confused, the other person feels confusion.
And I think we've talked earlier about being, people by people, the value of that human interaction, and sometimes we need to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable, but absolutely in your back pocket, be very clear on who you are and what you do. And the framework perfectly brings all of that together. Alessandro, you talked about that imposter syndrome. It's a phrase we often hear, and it's often something that gets us second guessing. Oh, that's not the right corporate partner. They won't want to work with me, or they're too big. They're not big enough. And this step really, or well, not this step actually, because we've brought everything together, but how people feel and those emotions is absolutely the expertise that you bring to the table. That empathic marketing. Marketing isn't just about being on social media. It's how you show up, and do people feel the passion and the emotion and the value in who you are and what you do. Would you agree with that? Or do you see from your psychological expertise something different?
People don't buy your product. People don't buy your service. People don't buy your idea. They buy the energy, the vitality, and the presence. When they see you, how they feel. Before you start saying something, the person has already decided whether or not to work with you. It sounds strange, but it's like that. So how you present yourself, how you feel, that is what you should train across your professional life. Many people, in particular now with the overuse or misuse of AI, we can emulate, we can replicate so many things, but AI cannot replicate your presence. So if you decide to be invisible, that is a way that you have a room for improvement. Don't try to improve what you do, improve more your inner clarity, the clarity of the people within your charity. That is what people actually buy. And in one of the videos, we discuss people buy trust. How can I build the trust? The only way to build the trust is to work inside of you in terms of clarity, in terms of confidence. And confidence, I can tell you, because I went through this kind of stage or step in my life, confidence is just the result of consistency. No one was born with a confidence. The confidence comes from be consistent and be persistent. And the only way of doing that is when you go through a structure. So what we build with the two of us, Karen, is something that allowed the person to have the gym, the training, the supervision of two people, in my case, more from a psychological point of view, that we can help you to build the confidence, the clarity, the vitality, and the presence necessary to be chosen in a very overcrowded market. You don't need to do more. You need to leverage more about what you already have.
So that perfectly brings us to a close. The bonus step, the 7+1, is about bringing everything together. Charities will get to present a focused 5-minute pitch to a live corporate audience, and open the door to a genuine partnership opportunity. You're going to bring everything to the table. So I hope from watching these videos, whether you've watched one of them or all 8 of them, that you can feel the energy, the expertise that I bring as a charity expert in the sector for 20 years, and our author and empathic marketing psychologist to the table. We're going to provide the charities everything that we know to leverage what expertise that we've got to ensure that you create those long-lasting partnerships.